Hey guys, welcome back to another reaction video. You guys go checking out Central Asia, recognized Greek Cyprus. Key, Turkey is angry. Okay, let's check this out.
Diplomatic shift occurred when Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, and Turkmenistan publicly supported Cyprus's sovereignty and labeled Turkey as an occupying power in northern Cyprus.
Occupying power in northern Cyprus.
This development has strained Ankara's ambitions for pan-Turkic unity and raised questions about the future of the Organization of Turkic States.
Yeah.
For decades, Turkey has sought to unite the Turkic world under a single banner, championing the cause of pan-Turkism.
Oh, pan-Turkism.
With the creation of the Organization of Turkic States,
they actually created Turkic states.
In which linguistic, cultural, and political ties among Turkic nations would evolve into tangible regional cooperation. From Turkey to Central Asia, this vision aimed to revive a historical bond that transcended borders.
Historical bonds.
However, recent developments have sent shockwaves through Ankara's strategic ambitions. 4 Central Asian states publicly declared support for UN resolutions labeling Turkey as an occupying power in northern Cyprus.
Occupying power in northern, why?
Even more striking, they appointed ambassadors to the Republic of Cyprus, a move seen as tacit recognition of Greek Cypriot sovereignty over the entire island, directly undermining Turkey's position and its recognition of the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus. From Ankara's perspective, this wasn't just a diplomatic snub, it was a betrayal.
So you guys, Turkey is actually labeled as occupying power in northern Cyprus, and 4 countries from the UN actually support the move, which they're actually labeling Turkey as the occupying power in northern Cyprus, and they actually ignore Cyprus. They actually ignore Turkey, and Turkey did not just see this as ignoring; they saw it as betrayal. Okay, so I want to know why Turkey is being stated as occupying power in northern Cyprus. But this is deep, you guys. This is so deep.
Cyprus has been divided since 1974.
It's been divided since
military intervention following a coup aimed at uniting the island with Greece.
Uniting with Greece.
Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus, recognized only by Ankara. Meanwhile, the international community continues to treat the north as occupied territory. For Turkey, recognition of the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus is a cornerstone of its foreign policy. Over the years, Ankara has tried to gain international legitimacy for Northern Cyprus, even lobbying to include the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus as an observer in international organizations, such as the Organization of Turkic States. However, this strategy collided with the interests of other players, particularly the European Union, which regards Cyprus as an EU member state in its entirety.
So United Union actually recognized Cyprus as UE member states, guys. So Cyprus is actually an EU country, right?
This makes any support for the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus an immediate red line.
Red line.
Over the past decade, the European Union has been actively expanding its presence in Central Asia. Through initiatives like the EU Central Asia Strategy and the Global Gateway Infrastructure Plan, Brussels has increased its diplomatic footprint and invested heavily in connectivity, green energy, and economic cooperation. At the EU Central Asia Summit in Samarkand, the issue of Cyprus was quietly but firmly placed on the agenda. In exchange for deeper economic partnerships, visa liberalization, and infrastructure investments, Central Asian states were nudged to align more closely with EU norms, including respect for international resolutions, particularly United Nations Security Council resolutions 541 and 550, which condemn the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus's Declaration of Independence.
Oh my God. I feel like this actually started from the EU. EU started the blockage. They actually started blocking Turkey from invading Cyprus just from that conference, right? So this actually started from there. I feel like the EU was actually trying to fight for Cyprus from the Turkish. I don't know. Please let me know in the comment section, okay? This is my own understanding with what I'm watching here.
This diplomatic move serves multiple purposes for the EU. First, it pulls Central Asia further away from Russia's orbit. Second, it neutralizes Turkey's ambition ambitions for regional leadership within the Turkic world.
That's what I'm trying to say.
It signals to member states like Greece and Cyprus that Brussels is committed to defending their sovereignty even beyond European borders.
That's what I'm trying to say. This action actually takes full power from the Turkish, it takes the power out of Turkish from taking full independence or taking full authority of the Cyprus. That's obviously what I'm trying to say. Like I'm trying to say, like, this particular thing actually stop Turkey from invading Cyprus or taking over Cyprus. Yeah, I just feel like this actually saves Cyprus or something. I don't know, but let's continue.
For Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, and Kyrgyzstan, the economic incentives from the EU outweigh symbolic ties to Turkey. By backing the UN's position on Cyprus, these states secured financial benefits and a stronger foothold in global diplomacy.
Are you serious?
At first glance, Moscow appeared absent from this diplomatic drama. But silence does not mean indifference.
Yeah, silence does not mean indifference.
Russia has historically maintained significant influence in Central Asia through military ties, energy, infrastructure, and economic interdependence. However, Moscow has been stretched thin due to the war in Ukraine, Western sanctions, and growing Chinese assertiveness in the region. Russia has no direct stake in the Cyprus issue, but anything that weakens Turkey's role in the Turkic world benefits the Kremlin. Since the Second Karabakh War in 2020, Turkey has steadily increased its influence in the Caucasus and Central Asia, occasionally clashing with Russian interests. Turkey's growing presence in Central Asia has been interpreted by some in Moscow as a challenge to its traditional sphere of influence. By watching Central Asian states distance themselves from Turkey over Cyprus, Russia gains breathing room. It also creates an opportunity for the Kremlin to reassert its dominance in the region without appearing confrontational. Moreover, as Turkey balances its NATO membership with regional ambitions, a diplomatic defeat weakens Ankara's hand in broader negotiations with Moscow. Beijing's position on the Cyprus dispute is one of careful neutrality. China officially supports the sovereignty of Cyprus as recognized by the UN.
Oh my God, China also supports the sovereignty of Cyprus also.
Asia,
wow.
Beijing's silent diplomacy plays a far more influential
condemning
role.
Turkey.
Through the Belt and Road Initiative, China has invested billions into infrastructure, transport corridors, and energy pipelines across the region. Central Asian states are heavily indebted to China and increasingly dependent on Chinese trade.
Ooh, China have actually invested
China
in
has
them.
encouraged regional actors to pursue a multi-vector foreign policy, one that avoids exclusive alliances with any single power, including Turkey. The latest developments may be part of this broader strategy. By aligning with international norms on Cyprus, Central Asian states showcase independence while reassuring Brussels and Washington. At the same time, they stay in Beijing's good graces by not rocking the boat on sensitive issues like Taiwan Xinjiang or BRI projects. China's priority is to maintain regional stability, economic growth, and freedom of movement for its goods. Any tension between Turkey and Central Asian states over Cyprus suits Beijing, so long as it doesn't escalate into larger conflict. For Ankara, the reaction from its Turkic brothers is deeply disappointing. Pan-Turkism, once imagined as a unifying vision across continents, is now fractured by realpolitik. The organization of Turkic states, despite its cultural symbolism and political potential, lacks the institutional weight to mediate such disagreements. Its members have different political systems, strategic goals, and foreign policy alignments. The Cyprus dispute has exposed the limitations of unity based solely on language and heritage. Moreover, the appointment of ambassadors to Cyprus by Central Asian states is not just a diplomatic move. It's a message that loyalty in international politics is fluid and national interests come first. Was it really betrayal, or is this simply international relations?
National interests come first.
From Ankara's viewpoint, the actions of Central Asian states feel like a stab in the back. But from the perspective of Astana, Tashkent, Ashgabat, and Bishkek, it's a logical recalibration in an increasingly complex global landscape. Faced with pressures from the EU, incentives from China, and an eye on long-term autonomy from Russia and Turkey alike, Central Asia is charting its own course. In this game of great powers, old friendships are not enough. What matters are strategic alignments, economic gains, and geopolitical flexibility. As Turkey reflects on these developments, it may need to reconsider how it defines its regional leadership. The age of ideological brotherhood is fading. In its place emerges a new era of transactional diplomacy, where even your closest allies may one day shake hands with your adversaries. Of the Greek people against Hitler's Axis forces and the Holocaust that was recognized by American and world leaders to have changed the course of history has almost been forgotten. Instead, Greece's Great Depression has negatively altered the image of the Greek people. The Washington Orchidee Foundation, comprised of several dedicated Hellenes, has brought back to life the story of Orchidee, the Battle of Crete, the Greek Orthodox Church's public opposition to the Holocaust, stories of the Greeks' David versus Goliath courage that changed the trajectory of the Second World War. Now these stories are being told by some of the most admired people on the planet.
Democracy, self-determination, the notion that every man of every station has the right to be heard, that men and women of courage could change the fortunes of a nation. That's epitomized in 1940.
The Greek Prime Minister answered the Axis forces' request for surrender with one word, ohi, or no. Orchidee and the Greek Prime Minister, and the story of him saying ohi was a David-Goliath struggle. It was the first country to really stand up to the Axis powers.
The Prime Minister of Greece notified the World War II German Axis forces that Greece would not surrender.
After the world watched the Axis forces overwhelm 15 countries in less than a year, Greece became the first to defeat the Axis invasion, leading United States President Franklin Roosevelt to say, when the entire world had lost all hope, the Greek people dared to question the invincibility of the German monster, raising against it in the proud spirit of freedom.
In the very place where democracy was born, they risked everything so that it might survive.
This is the essence, in so many ways, of Greek courage.
Their courage is something that I think few people in the world can claim.
The Greek people who stood up so
Many of us could say that were we in the shoes of Metropolitan Zakynthos Island in 1943 that I would have had remotely the courage that he and the mayor showed when the occupying Nazis demanded the list of the two.
That's why Greece always go about for always setting strategies. That's why I know Greece. Greece love setting strategies. Was this really betrayal or not? But let's check on the comment section and see what people have to say about this. So someone said this is a huge diplomatic victory for Greece side, and an absolutely disaster for the Turkey side. Do you actually agree on that? Because this is a comment section. And another person say freedom for Cyprus from Turkey occupation. So what do they mean by freedom for Cyprus from Turkey occupation? Someone else said Turkey is an invader in Cyprus. Why they become angry? So someone is trying to say that Turkey is an invader, which means Turkey is always invading Cyprus. So why are they now angry? Because China is almost doing everything. China is doing almost everything for Cyprus, and that's why Cyprus solely depends on China, and China is trying to say that their own is just to maintain stability, freedom, and infrastructure stability of what? Of income. So let's check the last comment. Someone said every country in the world does except the invading countries. I don't know why. Please can someone let me know why Turkey is actually angry? Are they angry because they are going to be stopping the invading, or they are preventing them from invading Cyprus? Please let me know on the comment section. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share this video for more people to see. Okay, thank you. I'll see you on my next one. Bye.